All right, so today we're diving into something really cool, Afrofuturism. It's this incredible movement that takes art, tech, and history and just smashes them together to create brand new ways of seeing the future.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple, but honestly super profound question: who gets to imagine the future? I mean, think about it. All the sci-fi movies you've seen, those gleaming futuristic cities, the high-tech utopias in the books you've read. Who's always at the center of those stories? And maybe even more important, who's just not there?
Well, for a long, long time, the answer to that question has been pretty narrow. The Black speculative arts movement has a name for this, and they don't mince words. They call it the invisibility or mischaracterization of Black people in, our shared ideas of what tomorrow looks like. And look, this isn't just some accident or a simple oversight. It's a really deep problem of erasure, because when you consistently leave an entire group of people out of the future, what does that say about their value in the present? It's a huge deal. And a problem that big, it needed a powerful response, both creatively and intellectually. And that response is Afrofuturism. This is a movement that basically said, we're not going to wait around to be included in someone else's vision of the future. Instead, it tackles that erasure head on by building its own stories, its own worlds, its own incredible possibilities. Okay, so what is Afrofuturism really? The term itself actually came about in the 1990s, but it was never, ever just about, putting Black characters in spaceships. Right from the start, it was this really deep dive, an intellectual and artistic exploration of how race, science, art, and design all connect and intersect. But here's the thing. While the name is from the 90s, the ideas behind it, they go way, way back. We're talking about intellectual roots stretching to the early 20th century with brilliant thinkers like W.E.B. Du Bois. So by the time the 90s rolled around, this long simmering movement finally got a name. And today, it's evolved into these amazing organized groups that are carrying that torch forward. And that's exactly why those early ideas were so absolutely critical. The scholar Reynaldo Anderson puts it perfectly. The work of people like Du Bois, it wasn't just some abstract academic exercise. No, it was foundational. It literally helped shape the artistic and political visions of the non-white world for a whole century. It was the bedrock that Afrofuturism was built on. So as the movement grew and matured, its whole philosophy got, well, sharper. It became more focused. This next phase is often called Afrofuturism 2.0, and it marks a really crucial shift in thinking. It moved away from just responding to the dominant culture and towards something way more radical. Let's break that down a bit. You can think of the first wave of Afrofuturism as a response. It was about engaging with the system, critiquing it from within. But Afrofuturism 2.0, that's an active rejection. It's a total game changer. It's no longer about asking for a seat at someone else's table. It's about saying, you know what? We're going to build a whole new table with our own blueprints. And the group that really embodies this evolution today is the Black Speculative Arts Movement, or BSAM for short. This is where all that powerful theory and philosophy of Afrofuturism 2.0 gets put into real-world practice on a global scale. And if you look at their mission statement, their ambition is crystal clear. BSAM sees itself as a global force, one that's making a powerful statement about the future of African people. And they get that you can't separate art from culture or technology from politics. They understand that all these things are tangled together in the messy, beautiful act of building a future. And what's so fascinating here is that BSAM is fighting a battle on two fronts. On one hand, it's pushing back against the external pressure of what they call white racist normativity, but at the same time, it's also challenging what they term Black parochialism, which is basically about calling out any narrow, inward-looking thinking within the Black community. It's a push for bigger, more expansive ideas all around. So you might be wondering, how do they actually build these new worlds? Well, they draw from this incredibly rich philosophical well. BSAM intentionally brings in what they call earthly and unearthly intuitive aspects from Africanist traditions. So we're talking about things like esoterica, animism, magical realism. These are whole other ways of seeing the world, powerful alternatives to the kind of strict materialism that often dominates Western thought. Okay, so let's get down to it. Why does any of this matter? Because at the end of the day, reimagining the future isn't just about making cool sci-fi. It's about something much, much bigger. It's about the profound act of reclaiming your history and your future. When you boil it all down, Afrofuturism, especially through movements like BSA, is trying to do something huge. It wants to reclaim the entirety of African history. We're talking everything, right down to its creation myths. By mixing spiritual ideas with material reality, it creates totally new knowledge. And suddenly, speculative art isn't just fantasy anymore. It becomes a blueprint, a guide for building real, tangible, thriving futures for Black people all over the world. It is an active, honest-to-goodness world-building project. And that leaves us with one last, really powerful idea to chew on. Afrofuturism teaches us that imagination isn't just some escape from reality. It's a tool. It's a political act. So the question I want to leave you with is this. How does the simple act of imagining a different future actually start to change the present that we all share right here, right now?